Hey, it's Mike. Thanks for tuning back in. It's Monday, day 40 of this streak. It's crazy. I'm closing in on 6 straight weeks of putting out sports card content every single day. Really proud of that. I think that I've put out a lot of good stuff. Today I noticed that Goldin Auctions has a full set of 1922 E120 American Caramel cards up for sale, up for auction. Current bids at $10,200 with 17 days left. I'm really interested to see how this goes. I hadn't done a video on the E120 American Caramel set yet, so I figured this was a good time to do it. And then I'll follow up at the end when mid-January, I guess, when this auction ends, with an update on how much it goes for in like a news dump, I guess. This full set on Goldin has a grade point average of 1.18. So average grade's low, but it is the third best on the PSA registry right now. The best one, incidentally, has a grade point average of 7.45, in case you're wondering about the disparity between the third best and first best. First best has a PSA 6 Ty Cobb and a PSA 5.5 Babe Ruth. It's pretty good. The E120s are not to be confused with the W573s. They have the same fronts, but the W573s have blank backs. Also, not to be confused with the 1922 Olsen baseball game cards, which used the same cards but only half the checklist. The E120s were obviously caramel, issued by American Caramel Company, candy issue, I mean. There were 240 cards. There were 15 players from each of the 16 teams. It was a big set for back then. It was much bigger than previous candy issues, too. The American League cards were sepia-toned. National League cards were greenish blue in hue. The set was headlined by Eddie Collins, Tris Speaker, Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth, Walter Johnson, and Rogers Hornsby. Some pretty big names there. It is hampered by condition issues because it was thin stock, so high grades are pretty scarce. Many of them have paper loss on the back because American Caramel Company actually issued albums to kids where kids could paste or glue the cards in on the back. And so those albums, you can actually find the albums empty now for $100 or so, $100 to $200. The backs of the cards had team checklists, so if you get a card that was in an album and was pulled out, has the paper loss, you're missing the team checklist. But kids didn't really care about the team checklist, but when they put them in the albums, because the albums themselves had the checklists as well. Robert Edwards Auctions actually sold a complete album in 2014 for about $7,000. I'd be interested to know what that would go for nowadays. PSA has about 4,000 in their population. Only 13 are graded an 8, and 0 are above an 8. It's a pretty small population. The best Ty Cobb is a 6. There are 2 of those. The best Ruth is an 8, and there are 2 of those as well. A 5 Babe Ruth, PSA 5 Babe Ruth, sold for $32,000 last year in 2021 in Memory Lane Auctions. That more than doubled from 2018. Same card 3 years earlier, doubled. Ty Cobb was actually spelled C-O-B, Cobb. PSA 4 in that sold for only $4,400 in 2021. So reasonably priced for early Cobb, early Ruth. Walter Johnson, PSA 5, sold for only $1,200 in 2020. These can be purchased. There are several dozen of them on eBay right now at reasonable prices. For instance, a Walter Johnson SGC 3 is currently priced at about $2,300. To give you an idea of eBay sales, a Rogers Hornsby SGC 1 sold for $648 pretty recently. So not terrible for pre-war graded Hall of Fame inner circle guys. Also in this auction is a full set of 1956 tops, PSA 8 or above, which is pretty awesome. 1956 tops, iconic set design, has some of the most iconic cards in Topps history. There's also a 1916 M101-4 Sporting News Babe Ruth rookie card. This very card sold for $510,000 back in June. It's currently at $325,000 with about 17 days remaining. Pretty cool piece of history there. There's also a PSA-9 1961 Fleer Wilt Chamberlain rookie card, currently priced at $150,000. PSA-9 for a card that's 60 plus years old. Pretty awesome. They also have an amazing piece of history, a 1966-67 game-worn Bill Russell jersey that's autographed. I'd love to have that. Just awesome. A huge Bill Russell fan. Historically, of course, I'm not old enough to have watched him myself. But yeah, really cool stuff. There's like a 1979-80 OPC hockey sealed wax box. So, you know, Wayne Gretzky rookie card. There's some other sealed wax in this auction. Just fun stuff. I love these big time auctions. Obviously, I'm not bidding on any of those things because they're too expensive for me, but it's fun to just imagine what if. That's it for today. If you're new here, click that subscribe button. I do daily sports card content. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks very much. Hope you have a great week.